Hey guys, so about a month ago I received the Corsair Strafe Mechanical keyboard with MX Blue switches. Now, I've had it for about a month now and I think I'm finally able to give my full opinion on this keyboard and whether or not mechanical keys really do help me on a day-to-day basis. So of course, the keyboard that I got wasn't the RGB version, so it only came with the default red lights that all the other keyboards come with. However, it does still have customizable color per key backlighting, so you can customize each of the keys different shade of red. So currently, I just have pretty much just one static red color, but I also did manage to achieve a shadow wave, so it's where it's all red and then there's a black wave running through it and some other neat effects. These are all customizable through the Corsair utility engine, which you can download off of Corsair's website. Um, However, if you don't want to go through the advanced settings and you just want to have something cool to start off with, Corsair has 5 or 6 different settings that come straight out of the device, which are also really nice to use. The first setting is Visor, which is essentially a light bar bouncing back and forth between the keys. Uh, it has 3 different speeds, which is slow, medium, and fast. But personally, I prefer the medium and fast because slow, it bounces around. It's a little bit blocky in my opinion because you can see the lights turn on and turn off for each key, and that goes for all of the other lighting effects. Usually, the slow one or the slow one is usually the one that doesn't it's a bit blocky. You can see the light changing. You can see each key like individually lighting up instead of seeing like a smooth transition. But that's just my personal opinion. The next effect after that is rain, which essentially rains light randomly across the keys, so each one's randomly light up and just rains down the keyboard. Um, Once again, it has 3 customizable speeds, and it just gives your keyboard more matrixy like feel. Although personally, I think if you want a really matrixy feel, you should get the RGB version and make the lights green. Because if you watch the movie, it's all green keys raining down the screen. But yeah, it still looks really nice. Once again, I would recommend at least medium or fast for this setting. Um, the third setting is pulse, which pulses through black and like red, so it fades in and out of the red backlight color. So that looks pretty nice too. Once again, I recommend at least medium or fast. But fast also pulses a bit too quickly, and it looks really nice. It Once again, the slow one, it has a really blocky fading effect. You can see the light shift brightness as it becomes black, and then shift brightness as it becomes red again. So once again, it's just my personal preference. You can choose whatever you want, obviously. Um, the fourth effect is the wave effect, and the wave effect essentially just has a wave going continuously in one direction across your keyboard. And you can once again set 3 different settings or 3 different speeds. And you can also, in this one, you can adjust whether it goes left to right or right to left. I personally prefer, I think it's right to left, but it's completely customizable, so you can make it however way you see fit. Uh, the last 2 settings are type lighting settings, which are essentially like they light up the key that you type. The first one is, of course, type lighting key, which only lights up the key that you type. So when you click it, it lights up and then it fades out for a while. Once again, I recommend medium to fast durations. And the second one is type lighting ripple. This one, if you're a really fast typer, I would recommend at least fast, because otherwise, if you're actually typing, your keyboard just becomes solid red. I've tried that with medium or slow. It just becomes solid red as I'm typing, and then after a while, the light just randomly fades away. It still looks really nice though, and they all look really good in my opinion. So just choose whichever one suits your personal preference, or just create your own. Use through the advanced settings in the Corsair utility engine. Now that we've talked about how the lighting effects, let's go over like the main build quality. So of course, this being, I guess, the sort of budget younger brother to the K70 and K65, it's made out of plastic, not the same endless aluminum that the K70 came with, but it still looks pretty nice. It is much easier to clean and still can look pretty professional. Of course, it does have those red gamery backlights and those like hard keycaps that look very gamery. So it doesn't. So if you can turn those off, I guess it could still look pretty professional. It can still be used in a professional workplace. But it still looks really nice. It's really clean. It doesn't come with multimedia keys anymore, like the old keyboard. But it does come with a USB pass-through, which is really nice because the old K70 and K65 did not have those. And it's just a really nice addition because you can plug in a mouse or a USB thumb drive or something into that USB port just for more convenience. Another thing is that both sides of the keyboard now have light bars, which look really nice and give a bit of style and finesse to the overall build. Of course, when I'm typing, I personally can't really notice them, but when you look at it from the side, you can see them, and in really dark settings, you can sort of see them shining at the back, and you can sort of see them just like glowing out to the side of your keyboard. It looks really nice, in my opinion, with those on. However, those you can't customize your brightness or color with it. You can only change it from on or off, which is sort of a nuisance, but also pretty fine with me because I personally just keep them on for all the profiles I create because it just looks really nice overall. And finally, let's go on to how typing feels with this keyboard. Now, of course, this keyboard uses MX Blue switches, which are a bit different than the experience that I've had before with MX Reds, because these ones are tactile and clicky, whereas the MX Reds that I had used before were all linear and they had really light actuation forces. And that's the first point I'd like to get to. MX Blue switches have a lot heavier actuation, about 20 milligrams, I think, actuation force, which is a lot heavier than what I'm used to, because having used the Reds before, I used, the Reds had 45 milligram or gram, I forgot which one, but like it had 45 gram actuation force, which is pretty hard. Like it's a lot. I don't know. It's a lot easier to type on. Whereas the blues, when I first got them, I thought they were a lot stiffer.
Here's a typing test for you to listen to.
And about the typing experience, because these ones are backlit, they can't. They're like the keycaps feel a lot cheaper. They feel a lot like thinner and a lot cheaper than the other ones, which are textured and felt really thick and very solid. But these still have a really nice solid typing experience. I also enjoy the tactile click because that way I know whether or not I'm actuated and I know whether or not like my click's actually going through, so I don't accidentally misclick. I don't misclick as often on these keys that I do than I did with the MX Red switches, and overall they're just a really nice switch for me. Now I guess the only thing I'd upgrade is my mouse. But yeah, so these have really nice switches. I really enjoy the MX Blues, and I especially enjoy like the clickiness that the MX Blues have.
Now comes the conclusion. Would I recommend you to buy this? My answer is yes, with the price being around $130 to $150 Canadian, or about $100 to $110 American when I bought it, and its spectacular features and lighting effects, I would definitely recommend this to anyone in the mechanical keyboard market. However, if something like dedicated media keys are really important to your everyday life, you'd probably be better off with something like the Corsair K65 or the Corsair K70. And if macros are a big part of your everyday life, then you should probably go for something like the Razer Black Widow or the Logitech G910 or G710 keyboards, which all offer dedicated media keys for you to use if those are really important to your everyday life. Also, I appreciate the extra USB pass-through, as well as having a red panel underneath to make the backlighting more vibrant, and overall, I think this keyboard is really worth the purchase. I believe that if you're in the market for a mechanical keyboard, and you're on a sort of budget, then you should go try this keyboard out.
And yeah, that's pretty much all for this keyboard. I guess if you liked it, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't, hit that thumbs down button. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Wired THD out.